now. All right, so today we are going to figure out how to solve multi-step linear equations with variables on both sides. So we actually looked at this a little bit yesterday. We're going to do a couple just to review this process and then add some more steps to it. So this top part, we have 3 steps. So it says collect all of the terms with the variable on one side and then combine like terms. So you do this by adding or subtracting. So I'm going to add that to the directions. And you can choose. So when I look at this first problem, I have 7x here and negative 2x there. We want to make 0 x's on one side. So I can either subtract 7x here, or I can add 2x here, and then whatever I choose, I've got to do to both sides. So you want to add or subtract?
Add.
Add, okay. So what we're going to do then is we're going to add 2x, and we need to do that to both sides. And then I just always line it up under the other x's because that way it's easy for me to see how to put those together. So on this side, I don't have any x's left. It's just 55 now. On this side, I have 7x plus 2x, so we'll go ahead and add that to make 9x, and then plus 19. So when it says to combine like terms, that's after I get it all on this side by using addition or subtraction. Then it says collect all the constants on the other side of the equation and combine like terms. This again, you're going to either add or subtract. So I want to get the part with x by itself. So I'm trying to get 9x by itself. What's standing in my way is the plus 19. So how do I make plus 19 into 0? Minus 19 on both sides. And so 55 minus 19 is 36. And then on this side I will have 9x. The last step says solve the resulting one-step equation. And this is usually division. Sometimes it'll be multiplication, but usually it's division. So I have 9 times x here to get rid of the 9. I divide both sides by 9. And that cancels this 9 out and gets the x by itself. And then I have 36 divided by 9, which is 4. So that is a review of what we did yesterday, but it's good just because we need to remember how to deal with things when there's variables on both sides. So let's go through the steps for this one, and I'll zoom in. So we start by looking at the x's. I have minus 3x, and I have plus x. So I have to use opposites. Either I can add 3 here, I can subtract x over here. What do you guys want to do? You want to add the 3x. Occasionally you have to subtract, but this, I like to keep things positive also. So that cancels this minus 3x out and leaves me with 16. And then I have 11 plus, and so I have x plus 3x. So remember that this x is 1. So you're adding 1 plus 3, which makes 4x. So anytime you have an x by itself, it is 1x. They just don't always write the 1. All right, so now we need to get the 4x by itself. How do I get rid of this 11? Minus 11. We're going to do that on both sides. And so then we end up with 5 on this side and 4x on this side. And this one does not divide evenly, but that's okay. Divide by 4, divide by 4. And the reason we use this fraction bar for division is that actually gives me the answer. It's 5/4. If you want to go to the trouble of writing as 1 1/4, you can. We don't want decimals. So I'm going to write no decimals unless it's a story problem, which we will get into later. But on these that don't have a story to go with them, we usually just leave them in fraction form, and improper is okay as long as everything is simplified. So 5 and 4 don't divide by anything. You can just leave it like that, and it's kind of because mathematicians are lazy. They will leave it improper a lot, just because then if you do another step, it's already set up in fraction form. Okay, so we did a tiny bit with distribution yesterday, but we're going to add a whole lot to it. And these look really scary, but you just have to go through step by step. So they're adding a couple of steps to the beginning. If the equation has parentheses, use the distributive property, sometimes we just call that distribution, to eliminate the parentheses. So on this side, everything that's not attached to the parentheses is going to stay the same. So this 2x, the 8 minus 3x, that's all going to stay. What we're going to change on this first step is just distribute this 3 into the parentheses, and that takes the parentheses out. So what do I get if I distribute that 3?
12.
Okay, so plus 12x, and then what else? I also have to take the 3 over here times this minus 3. So we're going to get minus 9. So that's step 1. We did the distributive property, so check, we did it. Step 2 is combine like terms on the same side of the equality. So we're going to kind of think of this as a dividing line where the equal sign is, and take a look at each side. So on the left side, I'm going, can I combine any like terms? Yes. Everybody's shaking their head. Yes. We have the 2x and the 12x we can put together, which makes 14x. We still have the minus 9. On this side, is there anything that I can put together? I have 8 and minus 3x. Can I do anything with that? No. So I'm just going to leave it 8 minus 3x until the next step. So once we get to this point, this looks like the equations we did above. So now we're going to proceed as listed above. Collect all of the terms with the variable on one side and combine like terms. So this is either using addition or subtraction. So I have 14x here minus 3x here. So I need to make one of those into 0. So do you want to subtract 14x or add 3x? Add 3x. Everybody likes to add. So if I do that, that cancels this out. But what I do to this side, I also have to do to this side. And I just line it up under the 14x so that I can combine those like terms, which is the next step. Or actually, it just says combine the like terms in this step, I guess. So this will be 17x minus 9. On this side, we will have 8. Now it says collect all the constants on the other side of the equation and combine like terms. So we're still adding or subtracting to kind of move things around. So I want to get the 17x by itself. How do I get rid of minus 9?
You do plus 9.
Do plus 9. And I also do it to this side of the equation. So both sides. So I get 17x equals 17. And then it says solve the resulting one-step equation. Just down here. Usually that's going to be division. Sometimes it'll be multiplication. In this case, we want to use division because it was 17 times x. So we do the opposite, and we get x equals 1. So basically your point of this is getting simpler, 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 simpler until you can figure out what that missing number is. That was all over the place in the original equation. Okay, so this last one looks really scary because there's 2 sets of parentheses, but it's going to be okay. So the minus 4, the negative 4 right here, we can just leave. This minus out here implies that we are distributing a negative 1. So I'm going to put a little 1 there, and you're going to take negative 1 times 2. That's negative 2. And then I'm going to take negative 1 times negative 3x. So if I take a negative times a negative, those are same signs. So it comes out positive 3x. Okay, and then we're going to go over here and do the same thing. So we're going to distribute this 3. So what do I get if I distribute this 3? 6x.
And then you get
minus 3. And plus 5. Good. So now we're going to look at each side separately. So sort of think of this as a dividing sign here. On the left side, is there any like terms we can put together?
Yes.
Okay, so I've got basically negative 4 and negative 2, which makes negative 6. And I still have the plus 3x. What about this side?
Negative 5. I mean negative 3 and 5.
The negative 3 and 5. So the 6x stays the same, but negative 3 plus 5 gives us positive 2, so I'm going to put plus 2 over here. So now I've got it down to just there's x's and numbers on both sides. It's like what we were doing the day before. So now I'm going to focus on my x's. I have 3x here and 6x here. They're both positive. So do I want to subtract 3x or subtract 6x? What do you want to do?
I will subtract 3x.
You subtract 3x. You can do either. If you want to work with negatives, it's totally okay if you want to subtract the 6. All right, so on this side I have negative 6. Over here I have 3x plus 2. We're still trying to get x by itself. What would I do next? Minus 2. Minus 2. So negative 8 equals 3x. And then what do I do? Divide by 3. And I'm just going to leave this negative 8/3 and call that my answer, which it just kind of falls out when you use this division bar. All right, that's it.